What's up, guys? This is Bear Evans coming at you live with special guest Neons.
How you doing?
So today we're going to talk about zombies because it's October and everybody loves zombies, and Walking Dead comes out this weekend. Whoop whoop! Awesome show. So we're going to do this special. Hopefully, I'm going to have a series of these for the month of October, following the just the whole month.
And the whole month I'll be putting out zombie videos as well, like I already have been.
Yep. He's doing DayZ and State of Decay.
Yes.
And both of those have already had uploads on our Bond channel. So go check those out. Drop a like, hit a subscribe. And I actually think I might make this part of my Survival 101 series, because there's going to be some decent coinciding points. So starting off with that, I'm going to loop back to my last video real quick for a quick tangent. In the basics and the basic essentials, where you need things like shelter, water, fire, food, all that kind of stuff, your mentality, and being prepared. And I wanted to elaborate on being prepared a little bit, not just for the zombie apocalypse, but for survival in general. I know I kind of went into this last time as well, but you really can't hear it enough. You want to have decent know-how. You need to know how to make a fire with 2 sticks if you absolutely have to. You need to know how to make a fire lay, how to get water, how to make shelter, and I'm going to be covering a lot of that in the next few weeks, between the zombie series and just the regular Survival 101 videos. And again, if anybody has any other methods or ideas to add on to what I've done, and you think it's a relatively important idea or topic, definitely drop a comment or send me a personal message on YouTube, and I will make a refresher series somewhere down the line, and I'll incorporate everything new into it, and definitely spread out those ideas. And anything that I find from other YouTubers, I'll definitely pass you on to them if I like their content. There's a couple of people that I really do like. And some of you will probably already know them. I'm not going to say any names yet. But you're going to be getting an information overload. But it's still going to be fun. So preparedness, learn how to do stuff. Stay in shape. Simple, easy. I mean, I am a little over 6 feet tall, 260 pounds, and I don't do much, but I'm still in decent shape. Can still run the mile. I can bench over 400 pounds. I compete in the Scottish Highland Games. So, I mean, it's any little thing helps. If you have a certain aspect, like I'm a bigger guy, I'm built for speed and power, I work with those. If you're more nimble, work on your agility. If you can become a good free runner or parkour runner, try and learn some of those simple moves. I would definitely tell anybody, just in life, to learn some simple stuff like how to roll out of a fall. That could really save you some time, even if it's just per chance. And I definitely have to advocate learning some sort of martial arts. It's definitely a good way to protect yourself. It helps develop you physically and mentally. I've been unofficially trained in many different types of martial arts. I don't have any particular sensei or master. I have friends train me, so I'm not any particular level. I don't have any belts or anything to show for it, but I definitely have the know-how of enough stuff to get me by. So moving on to the first part of this video, for any kind of survival situation, you want to try and get into a safe area. So if you can call what's bugging in or just stay in, you definitely want to do that. So you want to like stockpile. I wouldn't say stockpile in the term that people think like, oh my god, he's got like 8 years worth of food and water. No, you just stockpile like a week's worth of food and water, and always keep those in your garage or your house or your basement. just in case of emergencies. You should always have emergency food anyways. Everybody should have an emergency plan, whether it be a natural disaster or even an apocalypse, that kind of thing. You definitely want to have some sort of safety plan and a safety net in case anything goes down. And if you can stay in, out of the elements, away from harm, I definitely advise that. If you're in a situation where they're evacuating a city, you want to make sure your stuff is all potentially to go. You know, you can throw it in the back of a car, back of a truck, and be ready to go. And, you know, you and your family or your friends can sustain yourselves for a couple of days at least.
Yeah, I had that actually makes me think about something about being like, you know, safety. Is that since we're doing like this like zombie thing, something I've when you start, like if it, let's say you're just suddenly having your normal day and suddenly it happens, you're at home, don't stay at home. That's a big thing. When this happens, or if it were to happen, I should say, one of the big things that would happen is riots, chaos, people breaking into other people's houses, stealing things, fighting people for stuff. So if you're in your home, one of the things that will happen is someone's going to try to break in. So you don't really want to stay there. Maybe go out to like towards the country.
Yep.
Find a house or a shack or something.
And that's definitely part of creating an emergency plan, is having an emergency route and multiple routes. Especially if you live in the city like I do now. I'm constantly trying to learn of new ways to, you know, get out of the city in case of any future problems. And around here, it's a pain in the freaking ass. I miss being back in New York where I was already in the country. I didn't have to go anywhere if anything ever happened. I was right where everybody else wanted to be. So now I'm kind of revising my plan. It can be difficult, but it's definitely doable. I mean, somebody who doesn't know the area very well just yet, and I've got a couple of decent ways that I think are pretty quick on getting out with relative safety. You know, if there's any kind of zombie apocalypse, then you definitely want to try and grab as many of your basic essentials as you possibly can, because you're going to be leaving any kind of populated place, and that's when that preparedness really comes in handy. Because I mean, like, if there's any kind of zombie apocalypse here in town, we're getting the hell out. We've got.
I might stay there and fight the zombies. That'd be kind of fun.
I don't know. I'm pretty sadistic in the fact that I wouldn't mind wailing on a few zombie heads. You know, just stay around and clean up. But I would definitely want to establish a base camp more outside of town and then just do trips into town. So moving into the zombies, let's go into tools and knives and weapons and that kind of stuff.
First tool, water bottle.
Yeah, definitely.
First tool.
Water bottle is going to be your absolute best friend, and I am going to broaden that and say not just a water bottle, but as you can see on my pack, steel water bottle. That's what that is right there, and I've got a bigger one actually in my pack. It's a big 32-ouncer with a stainless steel cup, and on my pistol belt I have my canteen with my metal canteen cup. A little redundant, but at the same time I don't always necessarily use those two things side and side. But if I do, I at least have a spare for my fiance, who at the moment doesn't have a pack put together. We're slowly putting one together for her. She's not quite as willing to go out and camp as most people would like, but she's coming around. But I definitely want to carry enough stuff to make sure that she's covered as well. I have a decent supply of food in there. I can carry... just from what I have on my bag right now, I have my canteen, I have my 2 stainless steel cups, and I have a 2-liter Camelback. So that's pushing around 3 to 3.5 liters already, just of what always keep on my pack. And so, I mean, like, me and my fiance are both avid lovers of blades and that kind of stuff. I'm just an avid lover of weapons. I love collecting any kind of historical item that I can. Anything like that. So, I mean, like, I have a decent collection of small knives. Kind of sucks now that I'm here in California because I can't enjoy most of them. Back home, I can wear several on my hip that would get me jailed out here. So that makes me really sad.
Something I was thinking about weapons, like how you're kind of mentioning, a lot of people, as you see this mostly in the movies. I mean, we don't know how an actual person would react because, it hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm.
But just because something doesn't look like a weapon doesn't mean it's not. And secondly,
Absolutely.
you don't have to kill the zombie to get away. You just have to be able to get him away from you or knock the thing on the ground.
Yeah, just incapacitate it. If you don't have any kind of heavy or blunt enough or sharp enough object to, like, really, of course it's a zombie, you gotta take it out at the head. So if you don't have anything to do enough damage to the head to kill it, take out a leg. It's not going to be able to crawl after you as fast as it can run after you. So that's definitely something to think of. And another thing is people always have these, like tactical knives, like a spring assist or, like a butterfly knife or something like that. Those aren't really a realistic knife for killing a zombie. You need something that's long enough and sturdy enough to withstand a solid hit to the head, but that also has a blade that's long enough to do damage. Like this, my Nakota has, I want to say it's about a 4.5 to 5 inch blade. That's just barely good enough. I mean, this thing is wicked sharp, so I mean it would get the job done for anything. It's one of my favorite knives. It's got the hand guard, which would keep your hand from slipping into the blade. I'm sorry about that. Hand guard, which keeps your hand from slipping into the blade and cutting yourself. A decent grip. It's got a nice leather sheath. This thing would be pretty good. I would want to keep that on my belt. But at the same time, if you want a decent zombie defense, you're going to want something with a much longer blade, if not, a machete or something. This would be more of a backup knife, backup blade, I should say. And this is just shy of being like a Bowie knife. It's a little thin to be a Bowie knife, but this is just one of those ones that has the survival kit in the handle. Nothing too sturdy, but it should be good for at least one hit. But I also have my kukri and my machete and that kind of thing. So, I mean, like, you definitely want to arm yourself with things that you can reuse. And, I mean, like, yeah, people always go, oh, I'm going to have my shotgun, my, pump-action Mossberg with buckshot and dragon's breath, and my AR-15 with armor-piercing rounds. Yeah, those are definitely handy, but more towards either, like, a crowd or a group of zombies or your worst enemy, humans. Zombie apocalypse, after a certain amount of time, your worst enemy is going to be your old neighbor, because people are going to be fighting to survive. It's survival of the fittest. It's Darwinism at its finest. And, you're going to want some sort of firepower, but you're also going to want mainly silent weapons for travel and scouting and, doing,
searching?
Yeah, searching for supplies. And, in that case, it definitely comes in handy if you know how to use a knife. I was born lucky. I'm a natural marksman, so I am really good with any kind of firearm, bow and arrow, crossbow. I'm also very good with throwing knives and my tomahawk, which I practice with regularly. I have a target that I set up every once in a while once I get a new piece of wood, because I demolish that thing in the matter of a few days. And it's definitely a skill that you either have or don't have. If you don't if you've never tried it, definitely try it because A, it's just fun. You get to throw a sharp object at something, but always be careful. Make sure that you're not going to hurt anybody or yourself in the process, and always make sure there's nothing around you that's going to break. I almost took out a window once. That wasn't pretty. But figure out what weapon fits you and stick to it. Get good at it, but also always have a secondary weapon just in case for whatever reason you're robbed of your first. So if my main weapon is my machete or my bow and arrow, my second weapon might be my hiking staff, something like that. It's a almost 6 foot tall hunk of oak wood, and it got all my scout medals on there. And you guys have seen this thing before. That would definitely be something that I would want to use as a possible backup weapon, just because of its length. You push a zombie in the chest away from you, they can't touch you. There's no chance that anything could get remotely near you. And that brings me up to swords and that kind of stuff. My fiance collects swords, and I'm actually going to have one here shortly. Definitely a good idea, but you need to learn how to use it. So many average Joes just go out thinking, oh, I'm going to be a sword master, blah, blah. No, it doesn't work like that. Any idiot can swing one around and do damage, sure, but it takes skill and practice to actually learn how to use one. So don't think you can, start sparring against, somebody who took fencing for 20, 30 years. What should we move on to next?
Well, searching. I think that's a great one. Talk about, what not to do when you're searching.
Okay. So what would you suggest? Okay, first of all, I know a lot of people ask this question. What do you think is a good-sized group of people to function with, both out in the field and at your home base?
I would say in the home base, that depends on if you have defenses. If you have a defense, let's say, I hate kind of to use a game in a reference, but State of Decay is a great example because they have a watchtower, and you need someone in the watchtower, but you need someone also in the base to guard it, on the ground, and then you need at least 2 people searching. So for that, I'd say about 4 or 5. Walking around, maybe have a outdoor camp, and you're just going into the city and coming back. In my opinion, I would say 2 or 3 would be the easiest to take care of, and not children either. I'm talking adults.
Right. See, I'm kind of on the side of a little more. If we have a defendable home position, I would definitely say as many as you can supply. You can't have too many people, otherwise, how are you going to feed them? How are you going to give them water? How are you going to give them medicines if they're sick? You definitely need to be able to supply what you have. And, for anybody else. It's sorry, tough luck, but, we've got the maximum number here. Out in the field, I would say anything from a 2 to a 10-man team. If you're coordinated enough to work with any kind of tactics, doesn't even have to be military tactics, you just a good group of people who work together, I would say you could get upwards of 10 max. I wouldn't go anything over that just because of sheer numbers at that rate. That's too many people. You're trying to transport. You want to get in and out quick. But with 10 people, you can break that into 2 groups of 5, and that I think would work perfectly. That's 2 vehicles to go get supplies, and you've got 2 solid teams. And you have to take into account that they're all probably going to be carrying some form of gear already, just because they're going to have their weapons. You would assume that they have some small supply of water and food on the off chance that they get hung up somewhere. some sort of miniature survival kit. Again, if
Could be possible, you know. I mean, what if the person was all muscle, like pretty much all muscle?
yeah, I mean, it's that.
Could be possible.
I guarantee there are some out there, and they're going to be yelling at me. But I mean, like, you got to go on real logistics. You know, it's not everybody is a beast.
Yeah.
Coming from me, that's funny. But I mean, like, me and some of my friends have a group planned out, and we all know what our designations would be, what, you know, everybody's job would be, whether we have a home base or if we're always constantly on the move. I mean, me and my buddy Adam can throw our other friend Cody onto a 2-story roof, because me and Adam are both really big dudes, and Cody's so damn light that we can literally just toss him up and it's job done. And you know, it's teams like that, you know, that kind of coordination that I'm talking about, that would really, really be effective. You know, it's, you know, get to know your team. You know, people always say, oh, I don't want to, you know, get to know anybody in case they die, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, you probably won't die, or at least not die as quick, if you have a decent team to work with. If you think you're going to be some awesome lone wolf, have at it, be my guest, but I wouldn't want to. I mean, I could probably do pretty well. I know I could survive just fine. But when you throw in that variable of humans, like just regular people, that definitely throws for a game changer.
And you need to, you know, if you were to go, let's say this were to last for years, right? Let's say it happens and it lasts for years. If you were somebody who's never been with people, maybe shot a few people, you know, trying to survive, and, you know, you're not in a group, you're always alone, you start to lose basically your humanity. You don't you don't have very good social skills. Like, you barely know how to. It's kind of like awkward for you, basically.
You kind of cut out there for a second.
Well, I was saying your social skills would, like, you wouldn't be very good at talking to somebody. You know, it'd be kind of awkward. You wouldn't really know what to do.
For sure. I mean, like, it's, you would basically de-evolve, or just start to go insane. I mean, like, it's, if you take somebody who lives in such a social world that we live in now, somebody who is actually kind of used to it, you know, and spin them into, you know, just genuine chaos, then most people, I say, would break. I mean, it also comes down to, you know, like, what type of people survive. I mean, like, if half of my hometown survived, depending on which half, we might be pretty shafted. Because I know half the people would go insane, you know, and another third would just do whatever, you know, they wouldn't care anymore. So, I mean, it's those type of people that pose a threat to you, because they just go crazy, you know. Zombie apocalypse, avoid the loners.
Yeah.
Don't be a loner.
I mean, like, you know, if you don't have a weapon, the best thing you can do is either just avoid somebody if you see them, or try to, I want to say, plead with them.
Yeah.
You know, talk to them, act like, you know, you're just like, you're not even going to go near them, you're just kind of like you walk, you know, like this, walk away from each other. Now, if you have a weapon, that depends on how risky and insane you want to be.
Yeah.
If you actually want to go and try to attack somebody.
I would say if you have a weapon and you're looking for a new group, or at least a new place to just kind of hang out for a while, if you can save somebody in a different group, that's definitely a good way to start. You know, that's a good way in. Wait for them to go on some stupid stealthy mission, and then, you know, when shit hits the fan for them, you can come in like the cavalry and just save the day, you know.
Yeah.
But, so with scavenging, that kind of stuff, like, my priority, after, you know, just escaping the initial threat, would to be set up some sort of home base, whether it be just a boarded up house. I have one friend who would just go to some sort of apartment complex, just barricade everything from the ground floor up to the floor right below where he would want to be, and hope for the best. I have another friend who would try and find something like, in my hometown we have a really gorgeous library, huge big brick place, and definitely could be easily fortified.
I think a really good place to go would actually, I mean, I know this sounds kind of weird, would be school.
Uh-huh.
Because schools have a lot of exits.
Yeah.
Basically, escape routes. One's blocked, you have 10 more.
Right. The only downside to that, though, is that you also have 10 entrances at the same point.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely want to make sure you have a quick and easily removable barricade, just to keep anything from coming in, but make it easy to let things out. I personally would try and find an old fort. Something like, I'm not going to say the one that I would actually go to because I don't want all you fuckers flocking there. I'll kill y'all if you show up. But definitely like an old stone fort. And the reason because of that is that it's a stone fort. It's not going anywhere. Nothing is going to destroy that. It's a great place to start new. You can easily fortify it more. A watchtower, get running water in there, all that kind of stuff. You're given a structure. All you have to do now is give yourself the amenities that you want. And instant defense against zombies and road gangs like fucking Road Warrior.
Something else I thought of. I know during zombie apocalypse, not very many people would think about this, but books. If you're searching, what I want to say is knowledge. If you're searching and you find a book on, let's say, how to cook outdoors, right? It's like a recent book, how to cook outdoors. If especially for people that never done it or really don't know what to do, take it, read it. If once you don't need it, throw it on the ground, leave it, throw it in trash, whatever.
Burn it.
Burn it. Yeah. It's just you want knowledge so that you know what to do and how to survive.
Definitely, and that kind of loops back to the whole being prepared thing. But I mean, like, there's only so much that some people can do. I know that people have time constraints. People have don't have money for certain things. I'm the perfect example. I've been collecting my stuff for years, just kind of making a modge podge of things until I actually had a decent system. I mean, like, this wasn't something I made overnight. It's something that I've been doing on and off for ages. I mean, like, I've been trained to where I can go out in the woods with a knife or even nothing and survive for a week. That's just the practice that I've had. Not everybody else has that. So it's for those of you who don't, I actually always carry the SAS Survival Handbook because, you know what? Nobody knows everything. Anybody claiming to do so is just a jackass. Nobody knows absolutely everything. You can know a lot, but not everything. That's bull. I will never claim to know everything. There's constant stuff that I'm learning about. I love learning about it, and that's just a good read. It's good to brush up on the skills you already have. You forget stuff. It's human nature. So yeah, I definitely agree with books, and it's good for mentality. It helps keep you with a positive attitude, and
same thing with writing. Like,
if
you have a writing utensil to write down, you can either just make up a story to keep yourself company. I know a bunch of boys always deny this, but make a diary.
Yeah.
What's happening.
You don't even have to call it a diary. You can call it a journal, captain's log, something like that, you know? So, and I definitely agree with that. And I will say that I have a nice leather-bound, I don't know if I would call it a journal per se, but I keep some of my favorite quotes in there. I have pictures of family, pictures of my fiance, just little mementos like that keep you going. I've never really used it as a journal per se, but if I'm out and about, if I have some oddly profound moment, write it down. It definitely helps. And with my scattered thoughts, it definitely helps me remember. And I would definitely advise, like, if you have only pens or anything, get a surplus of pencils. Pencils are going to be where it's at in the end of the world. Any pocket knife can sharpen a number 2 pencil like this, and sharpeners aren't going to be in short supply either. I mean, it's the end of the world. You can just steal them. It's not even stealing at that point. It's just taking what's there. And that's another thing. The rules change in the end of the world. Code of conduct is gone for the most part. And, I mean, pretty much anything goes. Oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups right now. But yeah, definitely, I mean, like, it's... Keep something to write in, whether it be a wad of folded up computer paper or just like a spiral bound notebook, something. Especially me, I love to draw. So it's, it's always nice just to, like, if you're really feeling it, like if you're really down, if you're tired, if life is just fucking kicking you in the teeth, into the ground, just sit down and relax for a little bit. It's the end of the world. Everybody needs a little bit of downtime. And that can definitely help with that.
Something else I thought of, a lot of if something like that were to happen, instantly the military would be in action,
Yeah.
Well, just because the military is out and about, and they're walking around, let's say they're doing something, they're shooting zombies, whatever, does not mean that they're going to help you.
No.
So don't attempt it unless you know they will.
Yeah, seriously. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about was, yes, the military is there to help, but they are there to create stabilization for the masses, which means they're going to basically treat everybody like a herd of cattle. And I have nothing against the armed forces. I love our soldiers. They do a great job. But in the end of the world, I would try and avoid them as much as possible. That is, anywhere that there's going to be any kind of armed forces, it's just going to be ground zero for any kind of zombie outbreak. They're going to try and funnel people into, the quote-unquote safe zones. You've seen it in every zombie movie ever created. They get overrun. The people are like, oh my god, how'd it happen? And it's like, well, you had fucking 400,000 people funneling into this one tiny-ass space. What were you expecting? Oh my god, our bullets aren't working. We don't have enough. No shit. But, I would definitely say avoid it, but, respect them. If they tell you it's like, oh, shit's over that way, shit's obviously over that way, they're gonna know. Their intelligence is probably gonna be better than yours. Their intel. I'm not saying they're smarter than you. I'm saying they're...
Now, something else I was thinking about. If it's like a U.S. soldier, two things actually. If they tell you to back away, don't go forward. Second thing, if it's actually like, they're there to help, I guess, in a way, don't be afraid to ask for say, I need medical supplies. I need food, or maybe just if you really need it, you could ask for shelter. They'll take you, like he said, somewhere, and then maybe you can go in, sleep for a few days, and then hopefully you can leave.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, if you do end up, I really don't want to say this, but imprisoned, because you're technically not a prisoner, but you're being held there. You know, it's you're being cordoned off from everything else. It's yeah, you're a prisoner, but it's just an ugly word for that scenario. You know, it's I would try and get out. I mean, again, like wait until everything blows over, waiting for the initial chaos to kind of simmer down, and then go out and try and make things work. You know, that's when you start looking for survivors and you know, places to you know, set up a base camp, you know, base of operations, that kind of thing. I would not trust anybody, and I would not trust anything near masses of people. I mean, that's just asking for problems. Kind of looping back real quick earlier, though, sorry. With tools, I would also suggest having something that can pry something open, either a really sturdy knife, pry bar, or aka crowbar. I have a tomahawk, axes, that kind of stuff. Any one of those, you know, and have something that can, you know, that'll help you. Axe, hatchet, tomahawk, saw, something to process wood, or something else like a table leg, I don't know. Anything to help you in the long run. Like in any kind of survival scenario, everything you carry should hold a dual purpose. If it's not something basic like a lighter. You know, there's only so much you can do with a lighter.
It's actually kind of I didn't think about this until just now, so I kind of wish I would have thought of it earlier, because we are kind of on the subject of groups. But relations. Don't get a group that has, okay, let's say you had a group of 4 where you two are fine, these two are fine, but these two hate you two and you two hate these two.
Yeah, exactly. Like
you're not going to work together.
Exactly.
Like, make sure everybody likes each other, everyone's fine with each other.
Like, every group will go through its problems, but if you start off with, you know, 50% of everybody hating each other, that's not good. And I definitely agree with that. That's a good point. Kind of on the basis of, you know, building a base, shelter. End of the world, you're going to want a sturdy structure that's fairly impenetrable, but easily livable. You know, something that's a good space for people to kind of spread out. You know, so like The Walking Dead with the prison, that's a great place. You know, you have natural, well, not natural defenses, but defenses that were already in place, aka like the chain link fences. Stuff like that. You know, all the different cells. Everybody has their own room. You know, a couple can take one room, or a family can take a room, or you put 2 single dudes in a room. Whatever floats their boat. And not implying anything. You know, 2 dudes can share a room without anything happening. But you know, you have space to sprawl out. That's why I would love to go find an old fort. You know, tons of room for people to spread out. Even if you end up, you know, getting a few hundred, even 1,000, a few thousand people living in that area, it's not going to be such close quarters that everybody's going to be, you know, stepping all over each other, just getting pissed off at one another, because that leads to bigger problems. You know, if you get, say you have 1,000 people in a capacity that's only meant to hold 300 people, blood feuds are going to erupt out of that so freaking quickly. It's like, oh, you scuffed my sandal! Just stuff like that. Stupid stuff, too. I mean, like, it's because tension is just going to be so high. So you definitely want places that can accommodate everybody and as comfortably as possible. Yeah, it might not be, you know, a 5-star hotel, but if everybody at least has their own place to sleep, that's good. You know, that's definitely a start. I mean, like, if you're stuck outside, get up. It's I personally don't have one anymore, but I used to have a hiking hammock, and you can string those up pretty far off the ground. I mean, granted, it would suck if you fell, but it would. It's a risk you would have to take if you're out on your own, and that comes down to that lone wolf stuff again. But if you're like, say you get separated from a survival party or anything, get up, tie yourself to a tree limb. Just make sure you don't fall out while you're sleeping. And rope is another good thing to always carry, even just on a scouting mission. Cordage in general. I always keep tons of it in my pack. I actually just ran out of my 36 bank line. But even still, I have tons of 550 paracord and fishing line, which I always have on me. So always keep cordage. If you want to sleep in a tree, I would suggest something a little thicker.
Yeah.
You might want some real rope for that, but I personally don't plan on sleeping in a tree. As much as I love my trees, no. But
another thing I thought of is that if you find like a shack or maybe just even a house in the city, if it has a roof if it has like maybe just even a roof that's somewhat flat, if you can get up there and have a way, like have two ways to get, like have a way in and have a way down, you could sleep up there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, especially if you live in a climate that permits that, like back home, I wouldn't have that option really for 8 months of the year, just because you would have to have protection from the elements. It's really extreme winters. And I mean, they get snow as early as October, and keep it until April sometimes. But even then, just rain and thunderstorms, that kind of stuff. You definitely want somewhere solid. Like, yeah, you can live in a tent, but it's not going to be really satisfying. Tents are going to wear out on you. I mean, yeah, there's going to be a surplus of them, in a zombie apocalypse, but you definitely want something solid. Keep the tent as a backup if you absolutely have to. But on kind of a slight tangent off of that, always make sure you're dressed appropriately for where you are and the time of year you're in. Like back home, layers are going to be your best friend for 70% of the year. Out here, you barely want any layers, but you want enough to protect you from overexposure to the sun. And definitely where you live is definitely going to change how you would learn your preparedness for surviving. My expertise lie in more of a woodland scenario, whereas now that I'm out here in the desert, I'm kind of brushing up on some of my basic stuff. And I mean, like, you see me drinking my water right here. I drink 1 to 3 of these a day. This is 1.5 liters of water, and some days even that's not enough to keep me like really, really hydrated. Some days I really feel laggy, or I just get that really vicious headache from being dehydrated. So yeah, cheers. And
I could chug this whole thing.
Oh, I know. Water's so freaking good. But it's you definitely need to learn how to survive in your area, in your surrounding area. It's, when I say that, I would expect you to know how to survive within at least 100-mile radius of where you live. Because in any zombie apocalypse, you're going to be forced to travel around until you find a decent base of operations.
And so people know 100 miles, especially if this mostly applies to people in a city, 100 miles in your area isn't even your whole city, so don't think it's very big.
Yeah, like
it might be like, it might be enough to get to the closest mall next to you.
Yeah, like 100 miles here is nothing. I'm still pretty much going to be in civilization. Unless I really aim to hit, the desert. But back home, 100 miles, I could drive 100 miles and drive through maybe one big, quote unquote, big city. Big city with a population of like 20,000 people. My hometown has 4,000 people, and that's including every township around it. That's not just the town of, or not the village of, but the township of everything encompassed in that particular area. And I mean, I have to drive 45 minutes just to get to the closest Walmart. That's how rural I am. And I love it. I mean, like, that's pretty much the ideal place. Like, we have so many natural resources where we are. Wood, hunting, water, everything. I mean, like, my town would be set. We would be one of the survival areas. That's the town that you would want to spend the time to clean out all the zombies with, and build a safe zone.
That or somewhere in Alaska.
Yeah, Alaska's good.
Because if you live in some place, or you can get to somewhere that has a climate that really never changes,
mm-hmm.
It works. It's much easier to survive.
Oh yeah, and kind of looping back to my emergency plan. Have a plan for your plan. Have plans A through G if you really want to. I would definitely advise having plans A through C just in case. But I mean, I have a friend who is a pilot, and that's definitely a leg up on other people. It's like other people are stuck. It's like, oh fuck you, I got way out of here. I'm flying. And especially in a zombie apocalypse, that can be really really handy. Especially if you're just using little puddle jumpers like Pipers and Cessnas. Just the little one props, even smaller dual props, perfect for zombie apocalypse, for transporting a handful of people, or one person transporting supplies, that kind of stuff. Great for scouting out areas. If you have a plane and you're leading a rather large group, send that plane out to scan out the next 20, 30 miles, whatever you're going to be covering that day. And aerial reconnaissance definitely got its advantages in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. No, I think if you had a friend, or if you were, even if you're just somebody that kind of taught yourself how to fly something.
Yeah.
I would prefer a helicopter over a plane.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit easier to land, kind of maneuver and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you had some way of transportation in the air, not only does it give you a really easier and safer way of exiting, or evacuating if you need to,
mm-hmm.
but it's a great for just flying overhead and being like, oh look, there's a 10,000 zombie horde.
Yeah, right.
Don't go near it.
It's like, don't go west. Southeast, no, don't do it.
Don't go.
Unless there's that one pecker in your group who you absolutely hate, and you're like, hey Tom, scout south by southeast for me. I'm seeing some commotion over there.
looks like a group of survivors. Look friendly.
Look for a bunch of people in I see a guy wearing a red shirt. There's a guy with an orange hat.
Zombie makeup.
They look like they're blending in. They're not really staggering all that much. But yeah, it comes back down to the basic survival, where you want to always make sure you cover your basic needs of survival. Shelter, water, food, fire, that kind of stuff. And shelter, shelter could come down to having a good hat. I have an awesome, I completely forgot to grab it, an awesome wool hat. 100% wool I got from a surplus store. It's kind of like a cross between an Indiana Jones hat and like a cowboy hat. Nice, thick, wide brim. Pull it low, keeps your eyes out of the sun. Tilt it back, keeps your neck out of the sun. It's really awesome. You know, water is definitely a big thing. You always need to be able to find and you know, purify water. So I mean, like in the beginning of a survival situation, stockpile. Water is going to be your absolute best friend. If you live near a natural water source, make sure to keep it clean. I mean, like, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I would put a fence around my water before I put a fence around my building. I mean, if you lose your water, you're as good as dead. I mean, you need water for crops, for you, you know, for drinking, for bathing, for that kind of stuff. You need to learn how to purify it. Purification tablets will work for a while. Boiling water is always the easiest way. You can add small amounts of bleach and even smaller amounts of iodine to water to purify it. When I do my water video, I'll make sure I look up the actual amounts to use, because I'm not entirely sure. I've never used that particular method myself out in the field. I've done it a couple times just to see how to do it, but I've never actually had to rely on that. So I definitely need to look that up. You know, filtering methods, how to carry it, how to transport water. Containers are going to be your best friends in any kind of survival scenario. Connor finally sent me a message. Sorry, guys. You know, it's you definitely need to have the know-how to find water. I mean, like, if you're in a moist area, like in the woodlands, you're probably going to find some sort of water source, whether it be like a stream or a river or a small pond, something like that. They're everywhere. Out here in the desert, you're not going to be quite as lucky. Somebody was telling me once, yes, there's water inside cactuses, but some cactus juices are bad for you. So you're better off, apparently, just digging at the base of the cactus until you get a small pool of water. I'm not sure how true that is, but it's definitely something I'm going to be looking into. If you're near any mountains, hike up, get ice. Ice will, you know, give you nice cold fresh water. It will be very clean water. If you're out in the heat of the desert, you're pretty much SOL. Okay, so accidentally ran out of memory right there, but I think that's going to be a good cutoff point for us. Sure, now I can actually like see us without too much horrible glare. Yeah. Timing.
By the way, this is the first time I've ever been on video.
Indeed. Look at that face.
So, look at my face. Alright. That's enough close up.
So, okay, guys. Hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. Much love to everybody. If you have any topic ideas, send them in and I will gladly discuss them for you. Topic ideas with maybe what you would do for certain things, or how you would change things about maybe shows that you've seen, like Walking Dead or Resident Evil, those kind of things. You know, mainstream stuff. The good stuff. So stay tuned. I'm going to try and have at least one of these up every week. And I'll see you next time. See ya.
Wait. Guys, remember, subscribe starts with a C.
Bye, guys.